Okay, to get started removing the spark plugs and wires after you get your air cleaner off, is you just want to squeeze the little squeeze tabs here. Squeeze the tabs and pull the wires off, the wire loom off. And sometimes I have a zip tie here. It may or may not. You can go ahead and cut the zip tie off, and then you can flip the wiring harness out of your way. Go ahead and remove the torque screws that are in the center of the coils, and then you can flip the coils one at a time down like this, and we're going to pop the spark plug wires off. And to get the spark plug wires off, I use a tool like this. It has like a little 45-degree bend in it. Clamp it around the spark plug wires, and then what I do is I take my pry bar like so and put it in between the tool and the wire, and I pry using the valve cover, and pry against the tool, and that pops the wires off. And I'll take one coil off at a time, and I'll set it down, and I kind of set it down in order. And the reason why is because the end wires are longer than the rest, and the middle wires are all the same length. And I'll show you how we keep track of all that in a second once you pop them all off. So pop off the first coil, put it in a place where you know where it's going to go. Then in second and third, kind of put them in a line like on your bench or whatever. So to get the spark plugs out, you're just going to use your standard 5/8 spark plug socket. Put it in here, and you remove all 12 spark plugs. And as you go back, get closer to the back cylinders, you may switch to a shorter extension, or maybe even no extension by the time you get back there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack them all loose by hand with my ratchet. And once I crack them loose with my ratchet, I'm going to use my air ratchet. I don't normally like to use power tools, but there's so many spark plugs it would take forever to do it by hand. So I'll use my air ratchet, but I'll use my trigger and only go real slow and just lightly spin them out with it. So you got trigger. With trigger control, you can take them out without ripping the threads out of the cylinder heads. So at very least, crack them free by hand, and then you can use an air tool to take them out. So now it's time to put the new spark plugs back in. And from the factory, they come pre-gap, and you don't need to do anything with them. But if you suspect that the gap is out, I recommend not using the spark plug. Actually, getting another new one, and sending it back. But so once you determine that it's in good shape, put it in your standard socket that you took it out with. So I like to start them all by hand. So I put them in there, start them by hand. And once I got them started, a few threads, then I can put my ratchet on there, my air ratchet. And run it real slow. Just until it touches. Then I switch over to my my standard ratchet and tighten it until you feel the crush washer crush. And don't over tighten the spark plug. Now that we got all of our spark plugs remounted and torqued down, it's time to prep the ignition wires and coils and put those back in. When I unpack all the wires and laid them out, and you have 4 wires that are longer than the rest, and they're only a half inch or so longer than the rest. But the cylinders and coils on the front, so that are on the front, and one on the back. On both sides, we'll have one long wire and one short wire, and then the rest of the coils will have the short wires. So if you look at the coils, they have A and B written on it. If you look at the valve cover, it has A and B. So the A wire goes to this port, the B wire goes to this next port. So the A wire will go to this port, the B wire goes to that port. What I like to do is take the front coil, the very first one on whatever cylinder head you're working on, and figure out which one's the longer wire. And it looks like on this particular case, it's the A. Looks like it's the A wire. So I'll take this A wire off and put the long one on, and then put one of the short ones on for the B wire. So now that I got the A one, which is longer on the front one, and the B one shorter, mounted onto the coil itself, I'll go ahead and put the coil on its mounting spot. Go ahead and put the screw in and and tighten it down. Let's mount it down. You take the A wire, which is on top, the longer one, and you mount it on the A spark plug. And go ahead and push it on, and then take the B one, put it on the B port, and push it on. Next, you'll take the next coil, which is the middle coil, and they have both the same size wires, the short wires. So I'll go ahead and put the short wires on. Go ahead and mount the coil, put the screw in and tighten it. So now the A one is the top wire. So you find the A on the valve cover and what port that one is, and then mount your wire. And your B would be the very next one in line. So go ahead and mount that. Now we look at the third coil in line here, and we look and see, and this one's going to have a long wire and a short wire. So you look at the alphabet here, A and B, and figure out which one's long and which one's short, and then you transfer your long and your short wire over. So in this case, the A wire is the short wire and the B wire is the long wire. So you'll mount the A wire, which is the one in here, and then the B wire is going to be the very last spark plug on the cylinder. And then once you get that done, you can go ahead and plug in your coils and make sure they snap in place. And once those are secured, then you can duplicate the exact same process for the other cylinder, the other side. So now we're ready to put the air cleaner back on. When we do that, we want this ring to fit snug around the mass airflow sensor here, and then these little catches here will go over these rubber grommets here and here. So you'll get it all lined up, and you'll just push it straight down and snap it all into place. And then you want to double check that it's sealed around the mass air. And now you can put your air snorkels back on, and after you get that, you can put the front cover back on, and that kind of slides into the groove. These little slide in first like that, and then you snap it downwards. And that completes how to replace the spark plugs and ignition wires on a 2005 Mercedes C240. I'm Brian Essick from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again.